Hey everybody, Texas Trucker here, Lance, the Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. We're out here on a special July Day Chargerversary. It's special to me anyway, maybe not to anyone else, but try to make it a good time. One of the ways I celebrate is to try to get some parts, some cool stuff, be it restoration, performance, tools. In this case, we went tools, and that's what we're going to showcase with Max Precision Torque. Now, where we left off, we had showcased those. That's a long video. My apologies on that. But again, if you didn't know, now you'll know. I use timestamps. Literally, you click show more and there's timestamps. I walk you through the video. If you want to skip, you can do that. There's going to be an item in this haul that might interest you more than something that you've just recently seen. You're fully welcome to skip ahead. I also link to the products when possible, and I do that all for your convenience. Again, I don't make jack. If Max sells record numbers of these two items, doesn't impact me any. Okay, so what I want to do is lay down with this. If you made it through the video, you might kind of have an inkling of what we're doing. And we have got Max Precision Torque Wrenches, right? Still a strange name. I'm not going to change. I don't know if anyone fought back on that or agreed with me on the name. I still say it makes me think of a torque wrench, a calibrated, torque to spec tool, not a box end wrench, combination wrench, if you will. So what we did, I was just innocently talking to the Mac guy, and I said, you don't have anything coming up on these. We found out about the colored Mac Axis ratchets coming, right? The orange and the green. Very excited about that. And then he actually said, well, hey, speaking of colors, these are going away. I don't know if that's going to pan out. Who knows? I do know when you try to search for this part number or the G, it does not come up on their website. You can find the standard part number that's just in the red case, but the orange and the green don't show up online. Sometimes when stuff's out of stock, Mac's website's weird and it totally goes away or gets hidden. That could be the case, or it could be like he said, they're kind of doing away with these for whatever reason, which I think is unfortunate, because that's one of the big perks of spending extra on a tool truck, is you have access to either some options or some colors that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. So that's my thoughts on that front. But the deal we got, basically, it's not earth-shattering or anything, but when something's not on a flyer promo, pretty decent. I felt $169 for the green set of wrenches, SAE. It's pretty comprehensive set, quarter to 15/16. If you know anything about me, I always complain when wrench sets don't include that, right? Like quarter to 1 inch is kind of ideal. 1 inch, not something I'm concerned with. 15/16, I gotta have it. At least at work anyway. It's 5/8 bolts, if you're curious. That makes this quite attractive to me. What his situation is, he doesn't sell SAE near as much as he sells metric, right? It's common concern across the country, I'm sure. If you're old school, if you do industrial maintenance, if you do heavy equipment, if you do anything SAE, you can probably walk into some deals that way, right? In his case, he prefers to just have default colors, and he prefers metric, right? There was nothing, to put this in perspective, the man sells out of everything metric, but the SAE, these have been sitting there a while, right? Again, Precision Torques have been out a long time. People that wanted them got them. There's deals here and there, and maybe that strikes up a candle or something for some people. This was the number one when I said, hey, we're doing Matco at 5K, Mac at 7.5, and Snap-on at 10. When we were getting close to this, I said, what do you recommend that we try from Mac? What do you think we'd like? What do you think I'd hate? Is there anything comically bad, fantastically great? Number one recommendation, Max Precision Torque Wrenches. Not the knuckle savers made in America, not the Axis ratchets, not some oddball screwdriver. It was this wrench set. So I took your advice, and I attempted and failed, and had deals fall through from Mac out of stock, canceling my order, a different dealer saying he's gotten stuff and then disappearing, all kinds of things. And I never dreamed on that day I'd walk in there and come out. I'd kind of given up. Like I was basically debating if I wanted to get right satin or black. I was really afraid I'd lose the black at work. And then I was kind of debating between going with a backup right set or going with German, right? And I was kind of kicking that around. I was just sort of waiting. I was thinking, oh, I'll probably settle it on a deal. You know, like if there's a Stavilla wrench set that's dirt cheap, hey, there we go. If it's Hazette, that's awesome. If Ghidorah's clearance and stuff, I'm going that route. Otherwise, you know, it's probably right, you know, whenever I kind of fully commit to it. And at work, I need a backer set, right? I'm someone, you don't just use one wrench. Sometimes you have to have two. You got to have something down here and something up here. It's just how it goes. So we pulled the trigger, and we introduced them. We also got the bigger set, which is 5 wrenches, inch to inch and a quarter. Out of that 5-piece set, I need one, realistically, least frequently, and that would be the 1 1/8" for 3/4 bolts. So that was kind of spendy, but then you think about it, and it's like, well, that's like $40 a wrench, and those are pretty big wrenches, and not just in head size, but like overall length, and that ratchets the price up. So it's really not a terrible deal. Basically, again, $170 and $200 with tax off the truck for around $400. Not terrible, right? So what did I do? I said in that video, I'm going to use these things at work and see what I think of them. And I have done that, and I will obviously, you know, you might deduce what I think of them with them being here. Part of it, I'm not gonna lie, this is actually just, in my opinion, a fair deal here. Did I buy the 5-piece add-on set for here at the house? No. But I have these 1/4 to 15/16, which covers a whole heck of a lot, right? So what I found with them, it takes some adjusting, right? I'm used to a standard default, you know, proto, you know, right, so on and so forth, old SK Waynes, East Coast, KDs, everything's the same. It's like, you know, the 15-degree offset. Everything just kind of kicks out. Your hand's in the same spot. You flip, you're in the same spot. Slightly different lengths, yeah, sure. Some are 6 points, some are 12, but basically the same geometries, right, in terms of usage. These were freaking me out because, you know, I come in and I put a backer, right? You know, I'm going to tighten something down with an air ratchet, and I need to hold the nut on the bottom side. Well, guess what? Like, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm like in the right spot. If I had my Proto over there, I'm in the right spot if I had the Thornton, but guess what? I'm not in the right spot with these. It's no fault of the wrench. It makes the wrench unique, but like when you've done the same things for years and years, and it's like muscle memory, you're like, well, what's the deal? You know, like, did I not put the nut on? And you're like, well, shoot, I don't even know where the bolt is. You know, you're running your hand up under the framework, and you're like, what's the catch? And it's the geometry. It's totally different. So that is very, very weird, right? This is like if you've used 15-degree your whole life, and then all your buddies tell you how great 0-degree offsets are. Yeah, maybe in some cases, right? Like if you're going straight down in an engine bay, you know, and you got your radiator and your fans coming off type of a deal. But if you've your whole life used, you know, something with a 15-degree offset, it's going to be funky, right? In that case, you know, like you're like, oh, hey, this is great. You know, if I had this, my hand would have just whacked the fan and gotten cut up like it always does. The 0-degree stuff's great. In certain situations, right? Same thing. If you're that guy and you came to do what I did and you run that 0-degree offset, guess what happens to your hand, okay? I run a pretty powerful pneumatic ratchet, right? So this hand down here, you know, holding the wrench, and this hand right here holding the air ratchet, as this trigger gets pulled and the fastener, you know, runs the nut up and threads down, your hand's going to go with the wrench this way, okay? So you're tightening and this hand goes in the opposite direction. You got to be prepared for it. You can, you know, twist and punch, and that's one of the nice things about wearing the gloves. I used to always just kind of get like my knuckles, and then with a thumb injury, like these impact strips are great. You just kind of, it's like a love tap type of a thing, right? It doesn't even hurt or phase you. So you're doing that, and when you change what you've done, it's radically different. Now again, that is no fault of the wrench. It's a combination of the operator and the tool. In this case, I hadn't used these before, right? You know, that's like the first thing I was doing with them. Like, oh, sweet, you know, I'm going to use the new Precision Torques. And it's just funkily different. Did I adjust? Yeah. Did I find the nut? Yeah. Did they work? Yeah. Do I have anything bad to report on them? And the answer, sadly, is yes. And it's not just, I'm not going to hold that against the wrench. If I went in, I don't care if it's Capri or Snap-on or German, if we bought like a straight 0 offset wrench, I'm not going to blame the zero offset for what went wrong, right? That's something with me. I've got to get used to it. If you switch from running, you know, a super high speed battery powered ratchet to a torquey one, you're going to have to, like, you know, you're used to, you know, like hold the trigger and you basically think like, yep, it's down, and you pull it off and you're like, oh geez, that's like not even halfway down. It's because you switched your tool, right? It's torque. You know, now when you're used to like coming in and breaking something free with your battery powered ratchet before you start running it out fast, if you got the high torque one, you have to stop and be like, wait, I don't have to do that. I can just pull the trigger and this beast runs the thing, it breaks it free. That type of a situation. So not going to fault the wrench there. Again, I'm probably going to stick with what I know. But there are way more applications. You know, that's an isolated deal only in that instance, or a 15 degree or even bigger kick out is great. These don't provide that, but there are situations where those 15 degree offsets are going to create problems, and these could be fantastic, right? It's just getting used to it, right? But if you missed the previous one, again, quarter to 15/16, this is the same setup. Previous set we had green on the backer and then black with the green contrast, right? This is just set up with orange. Front cover was black on both. I wish it was color coded, right? I want this to be orange. That's why I picked it. I wanted the green one to be green. Not sure why they did that. Maybe they had backing plates and not the front covers. I don't know. If you have a set of these, were they ever like that? You know, like if you bought one, say in like 2017 and you got orange, was like your front cover orange? I'm kind of curious. Might have to try and research that a little bit, but I'm gonna grab this, an odd wrench, 11/16. You don't really talk about 7/16 bolts much. Well, here's the deal. Box end has been fine. I mentioned, you know, kind of chamfered, not chamfered, and again, just like the change in like what I'm accustomed to holding the wrench with. Here's what happened. This is what failed, and again, I don't have my green set here at the house, but on the 11/16 I was rebuilding a rivet gun, and I have to have, I think it's 5/8 on the back collar and then 11/16 up front, and it just slipped off. Not a big deal, you know, a lot of wrenches slip off of that thing. But when it slipped off, it actually, I'm not going to say like chipped the chrome, but it like left an impression, you know, on both jaws. And that was concerning to me because that's a relatively minor thing to have had happen, to see that kind of damage, especially on its like first use for the 11/16, right? And that's it. I don't know if that's Lumen. I don't know if they're just kind of soft. I don't know, you know, if that one wasn't heat treated well. I don't know if it was just a fluke and I could, you know, go get it, take this one and it would slip off 5 times and never do that. I don't know. It's just an observation, but something I love about these, particularly for today, the part number. I knew about the Facom, right? The original 440s. The Mac has 440 in the part number, and it's absolutely exquisite. If you're a Chevy guy, if you're a Ford guy, my apologies, it's not going to matter to you, but to me, it's a huge deal. The other thing I constantly do wrong, even at work, I was doing it in the video, I do it here. I was doing it when I put the wrenches back. I'm constantly like, you kind of see how these are, right? Sort of this little funky box end with the extra material is cantered that direction. I always, for whatever reason, am wanting to put the wrenches in like this. Now, I guess they do nest eventually. As you see down here, like that's going to bother some of you. And, I don't know why, but to me, that's just the natural thing. Every time I've had a wrench out of there, I was putting it in wrong. I now stop myself and spin it and make sure it's oriented correctly. Again, over time, I'm sure we'll kind of feel it out and get it going, but that's what I got for you. I think I've had them there for a week or two. I can't remember if they like had to sit at home to make the video or if they've had 2 full weeks, but did get to use them quite a bit, all the common sizes. The 11/16 I almost never touch at work outside of machine repair, and in this case it was a jaw. and it spun off. The reason I typically use a pliers wrench up there, and I've been pairing the Ghidorah and the Icon, and I mean, I smacked the ever-living, I didn't have gloves with me, and I think they were on the forklift, but anyway, I like smacked the ever-living snot out of these knuckles. And so I was kind of pissed, right? And so I was like, well, screw it, you know, I'm going to use these wrenches. This wasn't the same time, it was a different time, and yes, tons of rivets are used. And coming in, and it just, the wrench came off, and like I said, kind of has little imperfections on it now. So I need to buy a 7/16 bolt and see if it'll hold it. That's really what I need to do, but I should have some somewhere. It's like I said, it's just not a size we use. So yeah, that's my update for you. Again, the length has been really nice. They feel good in hand. That was my big takeaway here. They feel good in hand, and they're a little longer than, you know, your standard pattern wrenches. It's also super comprehensive. The way I've got them in drawer 2, which is wrench drawer, I've got over here longest 1.25 inch, and then you work your way over to the 1 inch in the green casing, and then same setup here, 15/16 down to what, 3/4, and then, or I'm sorry, I guess 5/8, and then 9/16 down to 1/4. Do I really wish that they were flipped and oriented with the numbers where they ascended this way? Yeah, but it's not the end of the world. I'll get used to it. I had to tweak some stuff. I had to move my hex keys from over here and then channel the rights down this way. But ultimately, it got me my backup set. I'll continue using them. I did kind of catch a peek of Flyer 9 because of a Rivet Gun, actually. I kept asking him if he'd sold one of the, he said he had 2-3 guys interested in a DeWalt Rivet Gun last time I talked to him, and I said, hey, do you know anybody having to buy one of those? Because I don't want to be the guinea pig. And he said no, but he said it's in the Flyer next month. Now, when he pulled it up, I think it's in the Flyer next month, but I don't think it's on sale. I guess it's like featured, if you will. Maybe it's on sale. I'd have to check prices. But when he was scrolling through there, I did see some ratcheting precision torques, right? He was kind of in a hurry. I was in a hurry. There's a storm coming. And I'm going to see, but that would be my only real downside, is if we kind of like knocked out of the ratcheting deal. The thing is, online and calling Mac, even though the ladies are super nice and we get along well, I'm probably not going to be able to talk Lisa into letting me buy the SAE ratcheting set and getting the free SAE set here in metric. The flip side, you know, dealing with the truck and the driver, he's going to be like, oh yeah, you know, he did buy those from me. And I'm like, yeah, man, you know, I don't need another set of the standards. He's like, yeah, I'll get you the metrics. So you got that working for you, right? So hopefully, if we like these, because again, with ratcheting wrenches, everything is overseas outside of like the Jokers and Snap-on, and I think that's about it. Maybe someone in Japan's doing it, but again, if they do, are they SAE? You know, that's the big question. They're probably just metric, so might go that route with these. We'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, this is the second set. These are staying here. I think I'm actually going to try to fit these in the US General Master Tech. So that'll be a really nice set there. And again, it'll give me double the chance to use them. But that is my initial review of them. Again, we're talking 2 weeks. So, you know, I can tell you the driver told me he's never had to replace one. Make of that what you will. And again, these are standard. They're not RVRT. If you want more details, check out the hour-long video. But real-world feedback from 2 weeks. They've been good. They're hard to get used to. It'll come with time. I'll probably eliminate them from some tasks and add them in where they perform favorably in others. And my concern is the jaw open end on the 11/16. And we'll see if it continues to be an issue and take it from there. But also, I don't think anyone will see this video. I probably won't release it before Flyer 9 would be over. Maybe I will. But have you used the DeWalt Rivet Gun? I shoot 3/16. That's all I shoot. Not quarter, not anything smaller. 3/16. They're stainless. And I'm considering that it's the cheap one. It's $3.99. Tool, battery, I think it's a tiny battery, of course, charger, and the bag. And then the big one, which is like $12.99 or something on the flyer. Same setup, you know, tool, battery, charger, bag. It'll do quarter. It has quite a bit more pull strength. Now, I tried to research it, and what I find is people that seem to have had them sent out by DeWalt, and that basically means nothing to me, especially when I see people shooting rivets in wood. Well, like, they take the time to demo it, you know, because they claim they use a rivet, and then it's like, no, you've lost all credibility, sir. And 400 spendy, the 1200 is really spendy. And I'd love to buy it if it's good, and it's going to save me from having to deal with rebuilding pneumatics all the time, which seem to have taken a downturn. Similarly, if they're terrible, I'd prefer just not to go that route and try something else. So, antidote there if you're into rivet guns. The Snap-on one is cheaper than Makita, but made in Japan, which makes no sense because you'd think it would be double the price of the Makita. Did you know Lobster actually makes rivet guns, like battery and pneumatic? I had no idea. Like, this is how pissed I like get home and I work, right? I'm thinking of like everything wrong at work and how to fix it. And yeah, I got down that rabbit hole, and well, there you go. Past kind of like 1,000, 1,200 mark, you get into 1,500 to 2,500. I assume these are like aviation grade. The problem there, I find no one that uses them, right? I can't get first-hand feedback. Like people like, yeah, the cherry gun is great, or, oh, you need this one. Man, I've never even rebuilt this, or, hey, all I do is service this every 6 months, and it's a rock star. And then, of course, you have people, and it's like, I use a rivet gun all the time, and it's like they shoot 4 of them, you know, like once every 4 months, and it's like, no, that's not helpful for me. So yeah, I may wind up with that thing. If I do, I'll try to bring it here and make a video, but otherwise I'll just kind of let you know. But anyway, star of the show is coming. You're like, 20 minutes, this is insane. Yeah, that's why I told you about the timestamps. Okay, so what we've got, this is brand new. It was actually on the truck like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. But it's in the flyer, and you're thinking like, ooh, hey, it's going to be a deal. No, it's just kind of featured. And it is part number PL150 MINIO. That's right, MINIO. And, you're thinking like, hey, O on this meant orange. Does O on this mean orange? It absolutely does. And it is this little gem. And I will tell you right now, if you're thinking like, that is a beautiful little light. Well, yeah, I would agree with you. And if you look at all the illustrations on this packaging, this thing looks killer, like the orange. If you're an orange person, you're like, yeah, finally. Well, hold to that thought. We'll disappoint you here shortly, but it's a rechargeable mini pin light. And I bought something from a company that we have coming at the 10K mark that wasn't quite what I thought it would be. And I have people constantly telling me I need to upgrade my work lights and flashlights, and I still have a hard time thinking that something is significantly better than the $7 Braun when it costs like $150. Now, if this was like my Harbor Freight Braun with $7.99, and your thing that you swear is 200 times better, 1,000 times brighter, and 10,000 times more durable, it was like $19.99, I'm there. I'll try it out. $29.99, even if it had the right specs or colors or something. I have a hard time like thinking I should spend over like 50 to 60 bucks for a flashlight. Now, if we've got a mag light that I could crack a skull with, okay, maybe, based on just the sheer size and material or something. But when stuff's coming out of China, it's a hard sell for me, right? And I kind of need to see and experience it. I wanted to buy this when I saw it on the truck the first time. I didn't know at the time they were brand new. I got on the website that night. I was like, oh, hey, that's actually new. And what he told me, he hadn't sold any of them. And when he came back and I asked about it, he said he sold some, but, you know, obviously people probably aren't going to have issues with them in the first week or two. That said, that tells me people didn't have issues in the first week or two, which what does that do? It lets me know it's probably not a piece of junk. Otherwise, they would be throwing a fit, wanting to swap it out, or he'd tell me like, dude, I don't know what's up with those, but, you know, I've sold like 10 of them and I've got 5 of them back. You know, roll the dice. Okay. So I finally, when we came in, I picked this up and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try it out and see what we think. So the way this is set up, you've got two sources of lights. Obviously you've got this massive thing, they do call this pin light, and you're going to have a spotlight down on the bottom, sort of in pin mode. That's very hard to see. So right here, come on, champion. All right, so your wide light, I want to say that's a 120 degree beam, and it is going to have 75 lumen. It'll run that way for 3 hours. Keep in mind, this is fairly small light, it's meaning small battery, small form factor. If you tap the button again, you get 150 lumen, so double the light output, and accordingly that cuts your runtime in half, from 3 hours to an hour and a half. And then if you run it in spotlight mode down here, which is standard flashlight if you will, it's a full 150 lumen. It is 3 hours in part. It's a much smaller light, and it's a 15 degree span, so 15 and 120. The features they're going to say: compact and lightweight, provides 150 lumen and 75 lumen, 150 lumen torch function. Strong magnetic clip, can be rotated 360 degrees. High quality metal housing, works with USB-C. That's right, C, not A or B, but C, the one that doesn't have the things that always break, the connectors. And that's basically it, right? So what is the price on this bad boy, you ask? Well, first thing, we should probably take a look at the light, and I don't know where I put it. There it is. All right. So what's included in the box? You're like, well, open it, idiot. Well, I already did, because I've got the charging cable. Are you like me, and you genuinely think you're going to like benefit the tool in the long run if you fully charge the battery first, or you just pull it out of the box and run with it? You know which camp I'm on. But I totally ran this thing and checked it out before I fully charged it. Not for long, just to make sure she worked, you know, get a feel for it, and then, yeah, we charged it. You also get a really freaking thick user manual. Very, very much writing for such a small product. Now, this is where your heart may break, folks. You know what happens with like a great orange color like you see on this piece of cardboard? If you make it anodized on aluminum, and you're like, oh no. Some of you know exactly where we're going with this. You got that. And you're like, that looks like acid copper. Yeah, that's actually a good color name for this, in my opinion. If I didn't know better, I would think that Mac had these in like a copper vein color type of a thing, or metallic copper. That looks absolutely nothing like, it's not egregiously off, you know, but I mean, it's like, this is like a crayony orange red, okay? And then this, since it's an anodized type of a color, it's like significantly brighter. It's like if you took this and then you added just gold dust, right? You yellow it out, you brighten it, you lighten the color. And to me, it doesn't look terrible, but it's certainly not this. So be aware of that. Again, if you're buying this online, you're like, I can look at it on the truck. Yeah, you totally can, and you can see the green and red are the same way. The red probably the truest to form. Orange and green don't always do well in these types of situations, but this looks like a beautiful hemi orange, and this is kind of like acid copper penny, if that makes any sense to you, right? So that said, it should stand out. That's one big thing. That's a win, right? The green one's kind of the same way. It's going to be a lighter. Again, take this sublime and just add some yellow or gold speck or something, and that's your color scheme, right? Case in point, I've got this little magnetic stick, and you can kind of see where we're going with that. Some people may call this like a light metallic orange, but it's almost more of a copper. Now, that could be a win for some of you. Some of you hate orange, but you love copper, and you're like, oh, that's a beautiful light. So, whatever. This whole sidebar is filled with stuff I don't care about. This side is the clip. The clip will rotate 360 degrees, including blocking virtually all of your light. Okay, nice design element there. We're back full circle. We'll just cover up that stuff we don't care about. You've got the Mac Tools logo here. You've got the part number. You've got this light, again, 120 beam, and then 75 or 150 on the lumens. Tap tap basically gets you there. You've got your USB-C right here. Again, you could rotate the clip there if you were so inclined, try to keep some dust out of it. This, if you see the lightning bolt and the horseshoe, what strange symbol is that about? Well, let's set this down. It's just timed out. I didn't catch it. That's one of the reasons you always hear me say, time that out. Yeah. I don't know where we were at, but I was talking about the lightning bolt and the horseshoe. And you're like, what is that? Well, it means it's magnetic. Case in point, we can set this coupling down and go to town. You're like, that's a nice touch, but when would I ever use that to retrieve items? Well, you totally can use it for that, but you got to think, let's say you're in a pinch, right? This is in your pocket, it's all you've got, and you're driving your girlfriend out and you're going to have dinner Saturday night, and boom, you toss a belt, and it's nighttime, because they take an hour away because it's fall or something. So what are you going to do? You can stick this thing magnetically to your hood and you've got a little light. Is it great? No, not in that case, but is it better than being in the black abyss of an engine bay? It absolutely is. So this is your button. Really, really nice, I think, feel on that. If we press it, there it is. That is 150 lumens and a 15-degree spread coming from the bottom of the light. If we tap it again, it's off. Now if we tap, we now have 75 lumens here, so this is half the brightness. It's going to be a 3-hour runtime in this configuration. Spotlight, torch, whatever you want to call that thing. 150 lumen gets the 3 hours, if you recall. If we tap it, we're out. Now we're here. If I tap it again, this is the full 150 lumens with a 120-degree beam spread. So pay attention to the mat. That's quite a bit of light, really. I'm just going to tap. That's 75. Camera's adjusted. There's 150. So I think it's actually decent. Now, what we've got going, there is also a light right there. That is the charge light. And what I planned to do with it was run it in pocket form, right? That's kind of what I wanted to do. I was unsure if I was going to run this in my jean pocket or a shirt pocket, which I sometimes don't have, especially this time of year when it's terribly hot, just stupid hot and humid. Humidity is not always here, but it is now, and it sucks big time. But the only thing I'm really worried about running it in the pocket, just preemptive, is this cap kind of seems to want to lift a little bit. You can kind of see it right there, I think, if I zoom in. I noticed this when I was like having to spin this and find the charger, like, see how she's coming off? I'm kind of afraid that might happen to me. And I don't know if it's going to be a big deal, not a big deal, happen all the time, hardly ever happen, never happen. I just have to use this. That's going to require some time on my end, right? This is not a bad, the more I look at it, like, this is kind of a cool color, but I personally, I would have much rather preferred like a solid Hemi orange. That's going to be personal preference. Again, it is available in red and green, but I think that's pretty legit. And again, the thing I like is it's small. Okay, so I'm not a big flashlight guy. I'm still not. I picked one up from Snap-on. Again, got a deal on that, if you want to call it a deal, which you can see if we ever get to 10K. And then I thought, I'm going to try something from Mac. And this was, I don't have anything like it, was really one of the biggest selling points. Like, I legitimately don't have anything that compact. I have some flashlights that are a little thinner, but I didn't have anything like with this form factor. I thought the magnetic clip was a nice touch. So yeah, that's what we got. So if you've had this, I know you won't have had it long. Maybe, man, if you bought this the day it showed up, you might hit like, 4 or 5 weeks with it, at least now when I'm recording this. If you're an early adopter, what do you like about it? Does it suck? Is the runtime great? Is the runtime terrible? Is it like just a quick, you have this with you at all times type of a thing? Is this something that you bought because you thought you'd like and you quickly realized you don't prefer it better than what you had? If you're like a flashlight connoisseur type and you just try everything, where does this rank? Like, what's a similar form factor that's significantly better for half the price? I don't know those things. Again, I don't spend a lot of time with the flashlight side of the world, but I know some of you are super into it. If you have that information, now is the time to speak up. Like, leave a comment, right? Tell people, like, hey, if you're on the fence about this and you're going to pull the trigger, I encourage you to check out blank from blank and tell people, all right? There's a chance I may see it and be like, okay, let me check this thing out. And if I'm like, well, hey, that's slimmer, it's twice as bright, it's like 5 times the runtime, and it's a half the price, like it's $19.99, you're very well possibly going to see that come into the channel at some point, right? So for now, this is just something like, I wish it was a true orange. It's not a terrible color by any stretch, but if you like see this or their internet iteration and you were to buy it, you'd be kind of disappointed. Same with the green. The red, shockingly, not terrible. But anyway, I'll just have to play with it. I'll have to use it. I'll have to experience the light in real time to kind of get a feel for what the thing's going to provide. But I don't know if that green light's supposed to be on or stay on all the time or what. We'll figure that out if the thing's dead when I come out here tomorrow. But yeah, that's about it, man. I'm excited to try the little thing. I don't know if it's going to be like too big for my pocket. If anyone remembers cargo shorts and cargo pants, you know, I'm sure that'd be great in one of those. But I kind of like, about as thick as I go is something like this, and anything past that like bothers me, right? My pins are slim, the markers are slim. That's kind of chonky, and we'll just have to see. Like, is it handy enough? It doesn't matter. If this falls, like, am I going to tear the clip off and just quit using the clip and just put it in my pocket? And then at that point in time, is it going to be clipping to my knife and my keys and, you know, catching the Cobra XS? Is it going to become a problem and an annoyance for me more than a benefit? In that scenario, I'd assume yes, but we can't just assume. We have to give it a fair shake, and that only comes with real-world usage. So I may run around with this for a little while here and then decide if I want to take one to work or, you know, like take it to work for a week type of a deal. We'll see. Again, these are fairly reasonably priced if it turns out to be decent. I do think they could certainly sell these for like half the price, you know, even $29, like put the tool truck premium on. I think that's a fair price. Like $19.99, I don't have a concern with that. $39, it's kind of pushing it. $29 I think would be like the happy medium, $25, $29 range, because then it's like, is it good, is it bad? Well, it's from the truck and I can swap it out and I can trade it in, whatever, maybe that peace of mind. But realistically, to me, and I do kind of live in the past, this is like, I'd feel pretty good at the $20 mark, right? So, well, let me know your thoughts. Again, I know tons of you are going to have way more knowledge and experience on flashlights than me. I'm just kind of like the cranky old man in that regard, but who knows? Maybe we'll like it. I'll get you feedback when I can. Hopefully, these precision torques don't have any issues and they're good. At some point in time, like if he has that 5-piece in orange, the inch to inch and a eighth or inch and a quarter sitting there, if I can ever get that like in the 150 range, I might just pull that trigger. But the 200 is not a bad deal. I don't know. These, it's a really good buy. I mean, I know they're Taiwan made, but go to Harbor Freight and get quarter to 15/16 an Icon and let me know the price. It's probably going to be right around here, maybe 129, 130. If I absolutely hate these, I can sell them and I'm not going to lose much money. But we'll see. I've got high hopes for them. Again, they were heavily recommended by you, the viewer, so thank you. I hope you're right. But, like I said, your thoughts and opinions always appreciated. With that said, I realized it's pretty late. Whoa, it's later than I realized. And I haven't eaten jack, so it's looking like SpaghettiOs because I don't really want to go make pizza at 10 p.m. at night. But yeah, time flies when you're having fun, man. So I hope you enjoy the videos. Again, I try to provide a little update as I can. And again, limited time with those wrenches since they're new. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Same thing here. Just need seat time with the light. We'll take it in stride. For the price, not terrible, especially since it did come with the cord. No wall pack or anything, but it is what it is. I'm going to quit rambling, get some stuff done here in the shop. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. And with that said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment. I encourage you to subscribe if you have not. If you do that, you ring the bell, you grab your Mac pin light that is an absolute stalwart, whose battery never dies and whose color is 100% accurate, and you jump your charger across the creek. YouTube just might notify you. We got brand new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, I felt like a spider just bit me. I should probably get some stuff done out here and catch you back in the next one.